full self-clearance. If this does not do the trick here, yeah, powwow time. Yeah! We did it, and I didn't do anything that I can't be proud of either. It's coming out now. We're finally gonna make some progress on the abandoned 1956 Chevy. It's about time. We got a lot of new parts to do a lot of stuff on the car, but before any of that can be done, we gotta button up our hand-built brake system. We got wheels and tires and other things for the car, but none of that can happen until this brake system's buttoned up. And inside here are some parts that are going to help us get that done. We'll get to that in a little bit. And here is our checklist for the day. We got to work our way through this list starting at the top. All right, I'm done jacking my jaw. Checklist, check. Parts, check. Can of chemicals, check. Skadoosh. Air-conditioned jeans, check. So the first two things on the list are backing plates and drum fitment, namely this left rear backing plate. Come on, let's go. So this is the original 1956 backing plate on the original axle housing, as far as I know. And as far as I know, here is the original drum. The drum does not fit properly on here because of the condition of the backing plate. Now, I don't know where along the way in previous videos, if it was us or not that, okay, me, that bent this backing plate out of shape. I'm not sure if it was like that when I got the car or not, but I tried beating it into shape so the drum would go on all the way. We'll put it on in a second, I'll show you. And I had it pretty good, and metal has a memory, so it kind of went back to how it was, which is why sometimes when you're bending metal, sometimes you got to go a little bit further because it's going to come back, right? Now this is really the only corner that I'm concerned with, or that needs to be taken care of. We're going to double check the other corners though too, because I might have bent, or you know, kind of, I guess you could say, warped some drums maybe in previous videos, or bent them out of shape when we had them in the press here at Freeman's garage. So I just want to double check everything. See, this isn't fitting properly. We'll take a closer look in a second. This has to be done first because we might take the backing plate off so that we can actually really get our hands on this thing and get it back into shape, because it's real hard trying to do it in here. And if we put fluid in the lines and bleed the lines, and then we have to take all this apart, it's gonna be redoing everything, which is why we've never put fluid in this brake system yet after we rebuilt it all. It's because I knew we were gonna have to face this probably. It's very close to being okay. See, what is it? Where is it catching? No, the drum is not 100% flat. Neither is the floor that it's on. But I mean, where are you ever gonna find a perfectly flat drum that's had the snot beat out of it since 1956? So that's fine. I think we might be catching. Well, you're probably thinking, well, duh, yeah, the problem's probably right here. But more specifically, this spot right there, I think is the issue. I don't know. Go ahead and slap her in the commentos if you think you have an idea. Okay, see that right there? I don't think that's the drum. I think that we're pivoting on that spot I just showed you right here. Okay, let's do this. What we don't want to do is to decide that we need a different backing plate, because that'll shut this video right down, and yeah. Yeah, that could turn into months. So we don't want to do that. We want to fix this right now. And once this corner is done, it'll free us up to blast through the rest of our checklist, as long as the other corners work out fine, which I think they will. This is the big gatekeeper. If we can get past this, then everything else will come together. I think we need to make this right here look just like that. The challenge is though, can we actually do this? Can we do it without taking the backing plate off? That would be best if we don't have to take all of that out. Well, if we just zip, zip, zip. Need 3 cuts to get that off. If we did that, the drum would go on all the way, and then we'd have another issue. We'd have a weak, compromised backing plate. Now I got this here. Well, that needs some work. So I have a torch, not one that can give us enough heat to manipulate this easily, quickly. The real torch is up at the North Dakota Freeman's garage location. However, I do have an idea. Oh man, out of nowhere we got, these are fossils and antique bricks. 50s Ford truck parts. The rain's just coming in. Okay. You know, I just moved the fossils and antique bricks and the 50s Ford truck parts from where they are now, so that we wouldn't be tripping on them going through here. And then a few minutes later that happens and now everything's moved right back to where it was. Golly! Not gonna slow us down. None of what you're about to see is recommended, okay? But I'm gonna start a little gentle, just to see what this backing plate wants to do. So this little socket here, it fits perfectly in there. And of course, when it gets to our trouble spot, it doesn't. Now, if you get down in here a little bit closer, in our trouble spot, you can see it doesn't go all the way to the back. You can see if we slide it out of our troubled spot, it does. So we're in this little rise part here. Now, an even smaller socket that would fit deep down in there might be better, but we're gonna start right here, and we're gonna see if we have something in this spot, and then we pry, push down, or hammer down on the outside here, if it will kind of start forming itself around the socket, so we can try to kind of pop that high spot out. I don't think that this is gonna work, but we're gonna try it, all right? I just wanna see what the metal wants to do. You know, we might just take this backing plate off because, well, let's see here. The reason why I'm not just hammering this thing as hard as I can is because I don't want to bend anywhere else on the backing plate, because it's flat. That's straight as an arrow. So I don't want to hammer this and tweak it. So I just want to see if maybe if I can get this to come down over the socket, if the spot will kind of go back into shape. What was that? Oh, you remember that video, right? This might be working, actually. Let's do a little test fit. There's no way it's good yet. Yeah. It's not even close yet. Okay. And this socket is a it's a metric. So I don't care if I break it. I was just thinking about doing something drastic, and I thought, you know, why don't we put the drum on and get it in the spot where it fits the best, or pretty good, just like that. And then let's bolt a wheel on and see what it does after there's a wheel clamped on here. Because I've had issues in the past where I've had drum and backing plate rubbage, and I chased it around forever, and it turned out that, oh, it's when I torque the lug nuts down, then it rubs. If I take the wheel off, nothing rubs. Brand new wheel studs from previous videos, and you haven't seen these yet. It's not like it's that special, but I don't think you've seen them yet. Brand new lug nuts to go with it. I know, riveting. Yeah. Yeah, that is locked up. Hey, maybe it'll self-clearance. Okay, I want to know exactly where this is rubbing. I want to know what love is. I want you to show me. Becky! I mean Helga. Sorry, forgot your name. It's kind of interesting because you think you'd see more paint scraped off right there. You can see it marred the backing plate when we zipped her down. Okay, I've spent enough time on this. I actually have a hard stop at 4 p.m. So I've got about 3 hours to do everything. So what we're gonna do is we're not taking the axle out. We're gonna leave this backing plate clamped onto the axle housing here because that'll hold it steady. But we're gonna get all the brake parts off because we're gonna heat this thing up, and this most likely is not going to get the backing plate hot enough to be able to manipulate its shape, but we're gonna try. I didn't bring a line wrench over here for this brake line, so it's taken forever with this, which it's not, wasn't tightened down that tight. It's just kind of awkward to get to. Things might change while I'm thinking and heating this up, but what I'm thinking is if we can actually get this glowing red, which I don't think it will, when we get it to that point, we're gonna slam the drum on, zip this wheel back on, and see if it'll telling you, for some reason, this one, some days this works and some days it doesn't. Yeah, it's not even a good flame. Thinking about going on Echo Bay right now and finding an original rusty backing plate and ordering it, because how much time are we gonna spend on this? This is very simple. Come on. Man, it's not even that hot. Oh, made with global components. It's not even that hot, but I guess well there's a little bit of heat in it. It's a waste of time, but might as well just do this. No, let's not be ridiculous. It's not going to do anything. So I've been working at this for a good while, bending, hammering with no heat, mind you. And I think it's pretty much there. I think we pretty much got it. And, oh geez, I shouldn't have had I had the switch for the grinder on the floor, then my leg on top of the disc. Not safe. Been using a flat disc, so I haven't been, don't freak out, I'm not cutting, okay? I'm not cutting a bunch of metal off of here. The flap disc was just clean and smooth everything up after I was done with it. Although, I will add this in right now. I would have no issue with if we had cut a chunk of this backing plate out, bent it how we want it, weld it back in, or, you know, hack it on the B plate, because it's not supporting any weight. It's just holding all of your brake parts. So anyways, I think we might be through all these issues, but there's also a little bit of a issue here that I wish I would have noticed this earlier, which, I mean, I did, but I didn't realize it was this gooped up. So we need to do this too, because this part of the axle flange, it's not letting the drum over it as easily as it should, which all this needed to be done, but this needs to be cleaned up as well. And it's not this part, sorry, this part, center screen. Oh, it's this part. Cleaned it up a little bit with the file, made in USA, real file. It's about as old as this car. Not, oh, hold on, side rant. Isn't it sad that today in these United States of America, you can't just walk into a hardware store, buy something like this, and it just works? This part's fine. It's this part. It is made just the cheapest way possible. It's junk. All right, off my soapbox. Where was I? Oh, this is a little bit much to work with the file. Can be done. It's just gonna take probably 10 minutes. So I'm just going to hit it real quick with the flapper wheel. I need to move this leg because it's gonna get hammered with sparks. There might be more complications here. We'll find out very shortly. You know, most people would have stopped this project just based on these complications. We're almost there. My back. Telling you, if furniture makers during the colonial period had access or were to gain access to power tools such as electric routers, drills, saws, etc., they would have used them. So my point is, if I had a lift, a vehicle lift, I would use it. I mean, they used them in the 50s, right? I would still do stuff without a lift because I'm a man. But taking advantage of a lift, not only do you save your body, but you could get a lot of stuff done way faster. And you could get more of these cars back into service a lot faster. Oh wait, but if you had a lift, you'd have to pay for the electricity. No. My whole body. Wow. Poor baby. Go try low crawling up Iwo Jima. This is why a lot of people these days, when they do projects like this, they take everything off the car and they throw it away. And they just order reproduction parts. But no, not here. Oh, well, that will get cars back in service faster. But then it's not the car anymore, is it? Oh, let's not go down that road. Ooh, Well, okay, for 1 second. If you restore a Hamakuda, but the only original part left on the car is, no, let's not go there. Let's not get into that right now. You know what? Let's duke it out in the comments. Right now, I'm running out of time. I think I'm low on vitamin D. Let's go to the other side. I just thought of something. Listen to me moan and groan and cry and complain. It's all in my head. This side, there's nothing wrong with this side, although this needs a little cleaning up. See how that's not going onto the flange all the way too, but it's very, very close. So let's do that and get this side fitted just perfect. And then we're gonna take it to the other side and throw it on and just see what happens, see how, because that'll tell us if, well, you get the picture. I need another Mountain Dew. I don't want another Mountain Dew. I need another Mountain Dew. This side's got just one little spot that's a hang up. But you know, this little hang up is nothing to get hung up about. Strawberry fields forever. Oh, so close. Where we're at right now is not where I envisioned we would be at this time of the day. Okay, if this does not, hold on, let me do this real quick. Just clean it up. All right, if this does not go on here right now, then it is hammer time. Too legit to quit. Oh, it's just crazy. Everything is just fighting us today. Oh, isn't that every day? Okay. I think we're hanging up right there. And we're messing all the paint up on everything. This video started out with me thinking that I'm gonna be careful with everything. We don't want to scratch any paint up. Yeah, it's well, whatever. This car is gonna Dukes a Hazzard right away anyways, and it's back on the road, so. Is it the drum or is it the axle flange? Maybe this one's, well, I don't know. I don't think that would have done anything. Are you enjoying a video that is nothing but me doing this? Don't worry, I'm trying to get to more. Oh my gosh. Now I need to channel my inner Russ Taff. Close my eyes. This is insane in the membrane. Just scratch everything up. All right, Big Mama. Okay, we're gonna find out right now if that is the axle flange or the drum. I'll tell you right now. Okay, I think it's the flange. If you're wondering why this stuff is, why we're having to do this to it, is because all this stuff has been beat down with hammers by people over the years. Sledgehammers, I'm sure. Okay, yeah, it's got to be that spot. All right, hopefully that does it. By the power of Michael Landon, Michael Landon, are you with me? This is embarrassing. I did not hack a bunch of metal off that, okay? Just cleaning the rust out. And the paint might need a little bit of silage. I mean, not silage. Oh, whatever else. Hey, at least once this is done, 2 sides are going to be done. The whole back of the car is going to be done. Well, I guess this is technically step. Well, I guess we're kind of doing on our checklist. Remember that thing we haven't seen for an hour? I guess we're kind of doing 2 at the same time. Ooh. Oh, it's hanging up on something, and yeah, I could force it on, but we need to get it off to do our test on that side. I think it's getting hung up here. You know, darn people and their sledgehammers. Alright, I've had enough of this. How could it possibly be that tight? That's what I don't understand. It shouldn't be that tight. Well, whatever. That thing's on. Right rear done. Alright, I'm sick of this. I think that the center might be a little pulled out, maybe a little bit, from getting, not from beating on it today, but from somebody or something in the past. Geez, that's a good magnet. Rare earth magnet. Your only way to get this off is to slide it off. Holy cow. Okay, that's a good magnet. If I can remember where I got that magnet from, I will put a link for it in the video description. So if you want a very strong rare earth magnet, there you go. One time I got one of those magnets. Well, you know, I'll tell you later. Do you really want to hurt me? Let's just say that I've repeated that whole entire thing about 50 more times. My back is shot. I don't think I have a bad back. I think it's just no man should be in this position for this long. If this does not do the trick here, yeah, powwow time. Slash, get a great popsicle and talk about it. That wasn't funny. Yeah! We did it, and I didn't do anything that I can't be proud of either. I would never tighten them this tight. Just doing it to double check. Yes. Wow. I think it's actually gonna work. All right, I am going to take that back off now, put the brake parts back in. Ooh, I'll show you what's in the... Nah, I won't show you what's in the package yet, but let's move on. Oh, I should probably stop that. We all know how that's gonna end. We will be going back to that left rear corner because what's in here is gotta go in there. We gotta put those brake parts back in there too. That'll take just a second, trust me. But I just have to get away from the back of the car for a little bit. Let's check these other drum fitment. Other drum fitment, that makes no sense. But let's check up here, and then that's done. And then we move on the checklist. So we're moving on, but not on the checklist quite yet, but we will in a second here. Now these fit tight up here too. Now, yeah, they shouldn't be sloppy, but the thing is they're not, or this drum anyways, it's not. Well, get over here. You can't see anything. You know, why am I yelling at you? That's no way to treat a domestic partner. See, this one's kind of a similar deal where it's just a little too tight around here. See how that's not, the drum's not sucked in all the way? And there's that gap there. But don't worry, Don't worry, it's not going to be another however many minutes of whatever that nonsense was going on back there. Well, we could put a wheel on and see if it'll suck down, but then if it does, what if it doesn't come off? Because we want to be able to get the drum off so that way, you know, sometimes you need to take your brake drum off, right? I wonder if on this one, if the paint's just a little too thick. Yeah, you know what? That might be what it is. Maybe we should just force it on. I got some sandpaper and a rubber mallet. Rubber mallet because I don't want to destroy all the paint on this, because why? It doesn't need all the beating the other corners did, or in the back of the car. But it's not working to get the drum off how a real hammer would, you know. Kind of like a degreaser that's good for the environment. Yeah, it probably doesn't work because it doesn't have all the harmful chemicals. Wow, how did I just connect hammers and degreasers like that? Jeez. It's crazy. I'm telling you, the front of this car, this whole drum fitment thing is going to be taken care of quickly here, because we can't, luckily we won't have to, but we can't go through what we went through at the back of the car, or the day's going to be over. Yeah, I think the paint's just, yeah. Okay, let's see how much difference that did not make. No, stay positive. The thick, extra thick paint is off. Oh yeah, that made a huge difference. Okay, were all the brake parts in here? Because we could just leave this on now. I just zipped that wheel off the left rear, and we're gonna throw it on the right front real quick, because I want to see how this drum sucks down onto the flange of the hub here. If you look right here, the gap between the drum and the flange is about yay large. And if you look at the other side of that hole, the gap is larger. So I'm thinking that the center of this drum might be a little bit caved in. Gee, I wonder how that could be. But we can fix that in the press easily. Just like we did with that other drum earlier. And I closed these overhead doors. I gotta pop these things back open here because it's getting a little swampy in here. Ooh, I don't like the way those threads felt there. It's kind of weird. Hopefully we don't have an issue. You gotta make sure your threads are clean, kids. Okay, perfect. You know, it's all kind of hard to say what does what when you clamp everything together. You gotta kind of use your brain to think, well, if this and that came together, what would this and that other thing do? Because you've got a drum and you're thinking that the center of it might be pushed in, and you got to think in your head, well, let's look at the back of the wheel and see where the back of the wheel makes contact with the drum, and what do we think is happening when we clamp this thing down, because you know you can't see inside there. So it's kind of a guessing game. And you never know, when we bleed the brakes and we put our foot on the brake pedal and actually press the shoes towards the inside of the drums, are the drums far enough over the shoes? You know, or is that all messed up? We won't know until we actually test all that, but I don't want to dwell on this, but real quick. So if you look at the back of the wheel and you take a look at what's actually making contact with this space here, it's not this, it's not that, it's not this, it's just right here and right there. Go back here and look at this. Okay, we just took the wheel off and you can see Well, that is a lot better. We got the drum on further. It must not have been all the way because it was a little tight. You see there is a little bit of gap there still. That's not the entire wheel stud. We can see some more of the wheel stud now, but there's still a little gap. We're not flat on here completely. Now when we had the wheel on here, it impacted it down. Did this become completely flat? Did we have all of our wheel stud? That's the thing. And you will have noticed that there's more wheel studs sticking out of the lug nuts on the rear than the front. Food for thought. I just over torqued that sucker to see what would happen. Woohoo! Look how flat skis that is. It's gonna rebound a little bit after taking the wheel off because it's metal. Metal has a memory. Yeah. Nice. So yeah, as long as all the brake parts are in there, we're good. I think they are. All right, one more corner, and this massive chunk that should have been done a long time ago is gonna be done and we can finally move on. I'm hoping that we're gonna be able to get that whole list done in the video today. I'm not sure. You know, I'm not that big on two-parters, but you know, okay. So one more corner to go. You know what? Do I really have to show you me walking around the car? Could we just cut this part out? You know how I got over there. We're going commando over here, no stool. See, this is the exact, hold on. Let me move this hand-built brake line, hand-built in-house. See, this is the exact same thing, and note the lack of G-cap. Don't worry, I've got a remedy for that. You'll see that at some point, as soon as possible. The center of the drum really does looks a little bit more tweaked than the other one on the other side, but that might not matter. Let's see what happens. And again, keep in mind, once the brake system is all primed with fluid and we're putting pressure in it, we'll know if the which hand is the brake shoe? If the brake shoes are lined up with the drum. Because if they're not, and you go to push the shoe into the lining and everything's all kawaii wampus, how is it? What's that saying? That's a pull, not a push. I don't like this little gap, man. I wish I would have thought of all this and sorted this all out back when we did the big main chunk of all the brakes and hubs and bearings. What I didn't do though while we just had this wheel on here was stick my head back there and see how far. Here, yeah, you need to get in here. You got to see this. I should have stuck my head back here to see how much of a gap we have here between the drum and the backing plate. Just remember that the shoe needs to be in here. But right now you got the shoe over here and the drum out here. So this needs to be closer to the backing plate, right? Got it? So let's zip this back on. That's a pull, not a push. I need an assistant that just comes in and just puts all the switches and levers where they need to be. And again, this is way too tight. I would never do that to drive. I would never torque these things down that tight. Oh, well that looks a lot better. It probably is sucked all the way down. Of course, there's a little wobble in it, but nothing in this entire setup is going to be perfectly straight. Although we do run into an issue where we're not gonna have the wheels and tires on when we bleed the brake. So the drums need to sit the way they need to be, right? Without wheels and tires on. Because it's 10 million times faster and easier to bleed brake without the wheels and tires on, and they're not on right now, so why would we put them on? And plus the drums should be the way they need to be without forcing them to be the way they need to be. How many times am I going to say need to be? I don't know. Gosh darn it. Okay. Oh, man, I don't really like that. Well, it is. It's good there. It's good all the way around. Right here, it's a little goofy. So I'm satisfied with this enough that we can just move on. And if we run into an issue later, we can deal with it because we can always put the drum in the press. But what I'm looking at now, it looks like the backing plate. I don't know, you can let me know in the comments if you think this backing plate is bent a little bit. It is, isn't it? Right? Or is it an optical illusion? Because you see up here, the drum and the backing plate, that's perfect. But then when we come down here, it starts to widen out, and then there's actually a gap right there. So that's not good. I doubt the shoe's gonna line up right. Okay, what happens when we spin this? Oh, that's... I think it's the lighting that makes the backing plate look a little bit. I mean, it could be a little bit, but I think it's the way the drum's sitting on here. Because, all right, you see the gap? See that gap? Watch it right there. You're probably screaming, yeah, I already saw it 10 times. But is it like that when the wheel is on? That's the last little bit that we can't see because we don't have X-ray vision glasses from the back of the Popular Mechanics magazine. Golly, all I need is $1.25. If Mom and Dad would just raise my allowance a nickel a week. Shucks. Okay, I think the thing to do here is to just leave this alone. Okay, nothing's going to be perfect, but yes, everything should be correct and straight. You know, not everything shouldn't be all bent out of shape. And it's not the proper way to do things, but look at what we're dealing with here. This car was built in 1956. It's been destroyed by who knows how many people. A high school kid destroyed it in the 70s. That's who I bought it from. So nothing's going to be perfect, but it's got to be within tolerances, you know, whatever you personally have in your head, right? Whatever your personal tolerances are. Now, the only part of this that seems to be scamooged and causing the issue is this one spot here. And if we take the drum off and put it in the press, we're going to be changing the whole thing. So yeah, so let's just, here's what we'll do. This one corner here, because we have this one wheel that doesn't have a big tire to get in the way, this one wheel here, we will put it on this left front corner. And if the brake shoes line up in here, then we know that it's going to be good. With wheels and tires on the car, we're just going to leave it alone. It's either that or you and I spend the next 3 days together hammering on this thing. I mean, you never know, it's gambling. It could take 10 minutes, it could take 10 hours. I actually take back everything I just said, because if I stick my finger in between the backing plate and the drum, and I give her a whirl, I can feel how it's, ow, I can feel it doing that. So this drum just does not want to come off, and I don't think we should spend the next hour or two trying to get it to come off. So let's just snap off this cotter pin just because it's all mangled up and it's going to take forever too. And since I had already bent it, it should be technically replaced anyways. So we're just going to take off the entire hub drum assembly here because they're essentially stuck together. And I'm just going to press the hub out of the middle. And gee, I wonder how the center of this drum got pushed in the first place. Tears are falling, and I feel the pain. And I will know. All right, let me know if you think I'm about to do something stupid. Don't just watch me do it. I'm thinking the best way to do this is actually to keep the hub in the drum. When was the last time you saw with your own eyes the Mississippi River? What a thunderous beast. If there was ever a time for eye protection, it would be right now. Right now! Just went into Van Halen mode. You know, I used to try to compare Van Halen and the Van Hagar years. And then I realized there's no comparing. They're two completely separate things. One almost a tribute to the other. Okay, what's happening? No, we're just breaking my favorite block of wood. Well, this is overkill. As long as we don't damage our hub where we put our seal in, which needs to go back in. I took it out to take the bearings out so that we don't get them all gunked up. Let the scare fest begin. Okay, well, it's moving. Okay, well, the big question is how is it moving? Because we want it to move evenly, and because it's going to bounce back, we need to go further than we want it, but not too much further than we want it. And is the light making a shadow that's fooling my mind? This doesn't look even. It's kind of weird. Although I assure you it is even. Okay, where are we at now? We'll go just a touch further. Pressing things is always a little scary hairy because, well, in this case, this is a cast brake drum. Which means what, children? It's brittle. It's eventually just going to explode. You know what, let's not put this here because one day it's gonna fall and it's gonna break. Tiny little feet and tiny little bones in someone's foot. Oh, has that been restored? Oh, there's just this one little spot. No, it's not. No, it's not good enough. All right, let's try it again, but we're gonna press the hub out and then do it. We'll do it without the hub. That might be hindering it. And why is this up here? I never put these up here because they'll just fall on your feet. I've got the blocks tucked up underneath so that if the hub just falls out, it doesn't hit the floor. See, this is how this drum got bent in the first place. I mean, it's coming out now. Ah! I exaggerated. I added on. Okay, that's the problem. High spot. You can probably see that. Let's just ignore what about just happened. And there's a high spot here and here. Okay, so now the question becomes, how do we make this flat, like the earth? Okay, we're gonna need this, which means we have to use some leverage. Oh, I really thought that would fit. We need some leverage to get this off. Or This might be all you're getting in this video. Hey, I could just do what everyone else does and just delete everything and take 3 months and turn it all into looking like it's just 1 8-hour day, and then you can go, wow, look how much he gets done. Best mechanic on the internet. Okay, the question is, do we attempt spot flattening, some spot removal, or do we attempt to do the whole thing at once? Maybe one spot at a time would be better, although I really don't want to lift this out of here again. It's a heavy one. All right, let's do spot treatment. Spot removal. Okay, do we think that did anything? It did. It did. It did. It did. Okay, next spot. I mean, of course, we're pressing it onto a flat surface. We're not getting that, you know, we're not going beyond flat. That would be best, but we're taking what we can for right now, little by little. We don't want to overdo it. Fire for effect. Okay, that definitely made a difference. Okay, so there's one more spot that I want to get. And then maybe we'll do the whole thing. Okay, let's see if we can do the whole thing at once. This is flat, machined flat. It's pretty gosh darn centered. You see, here at Freeman's Garage, we challenge the status quo. Watch, it's completely warped now. Not usable. Let's see if the studs on the hub slide in easier, because that would be an indicator. Ooh, yes. Not all the way really easy, but it's a lot better. Just tap that down. It didn't quite want to tap in with a hammer the very last little bit. Oh, I forgot, that's right. Favorite piece of wood. Okay, so that's in, and let's give it a little skadoosh. Okay. I almost made a mother-in-law joke. That is, wow, it's just about perfect. This is definitely an improvement that we need to test. I wouldn't mind taking it apart and going a little bit more, you know. But let's get it on the car real quick and test it out. It might be good. We did it. I think a neighbor just saw him do that. Oh well, I'm moving. Holy Toledo. Install push pins. This was down, way down here, just to you know, just build up and heighten your senses as much as possible, but you know, for the giant payoff. But let's just do it right now. I think you've earned it. It's not as if Yeah, it's not that big of a deal. Oh! It's a hole in the bag. It's brand new push pins slash push rods slash center links, whichever you may prefer, for 1955, 1956, and 1957 Chevrolet passenger cars. Wasn't that worth the wait? Okay, I'm gonna throw all the brake parts back in this thing, lickety split. These will be included in there. Only need 2 of them. Came as a set of 4, so we got 2 extra. Made in USA. So yeah, I'm gonna do that real quick, and I'm gonna put a little spritz of 2-in-1 shampoo plus conditioner on our bare metal spot to prevent rustage. And I will on the passenger side too, where we did a little bit of filing. And then we get to find out what's next. Oh my gosh, I thought we'd never get there. But now that we jumped out of order, what do? Let's go back to the beginning for a second. The point of this video is to get the brake system all buttoned up and working. Not worried about the emergency brake right now, just the actual front and rear brake system. Because I'm in the middle of buying, selling houses, moving, all that kind of stuff we all hate. So we're just trying to get the car together so that it can run and drive and move under its own power. We got an engine, we got a clutch, we got flywheel, we got transmission, we got all kinds of stuff. Just got to get this brake stuff done. And that, yeah, we got wheels and tires. And then all those other things are going to quickly just start falling into place. And so with the engine and the transmission and everything, it's all extremely tantalizing. But I'm almost to that hard stop I mentioned at the beginning of the video. I hate being an adult. Let's look at this list again though, because I was really, and I alluded to this earlier, I wasn't kidding. My plan for this video was to blast through this. Well, we started with messing with that left rear, right? My plan was to get that done quickly, and then we'd have time to do everything on that list. So the very next video could be engine, wheels, and tires, all that kind of stuff. Moving on, what can we squeeze in off of this? Because I feel like I owe you. Well, let's see here. Put a paperweight in here. Master cylinder hardware. Okay, let's take a look at that. Yep, another thing I'm trying to rush to get to is the hardware for all this sheet metal up front. Oh, believe me, it's gonna be coming quick. Let's lift the defender off to give us some more room here, and so we can get the door open. Because I think we're gonna wanna do that here. Because, see, the original master cylinder, you got 4 studs, right? And not the horse kind of stud, this kind of stud. And the original master cylinder is a single pot. This is a dual pot, so if we lose the front or rear system, we got the other one to back us up. And when I ordered this master cylinder, I ordered a master cylinder for a 1967 Chevrolet Camaro, which feels really good to do. The info for that is in the video description if you want it or need it. And we got to use the bottom studs because we have two holes instead of 4. These doors are so long. Oh, I love it. Remember when I was a kid and me and my brothers were real small, and my dad, he drove a Cutlass, a booger green Cutlass. And you know, back then in the classifieds, he bought it from some lady for $500. And I remember we were small enough at that time that we couldn't close the doors when we got in. Okay, well, I found our master cylinder, studs, center screen. Not easy to get to. And they are part of our pedal assembly, which is typically how that works. Boy, I sure wanted to get a lot more done on that list today. Although we did put in a lot of hours, so it's not a failure. And hey, we're back in the saddle. because it's been a while with this car, and we just got a lot of, I know, felt kind of ridiculous to me, but we had to get that done. So that was a lot of hours knocked out, done, over with. Had to be done. If you liked this video, boy, there's so many other good ones I could send you to that you would like. Yeah, I can't, you know what? There's something on the screen to watch next, and in the video description as well. You're gonna have to decide for yourself. It's your life, your choice. Don't take forever. Why am I standing like this? Meh. Meet Mom.